Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So as you can see, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently in this video. I'm doing a voiceover as this video is sped up a lot. I'm not quite sure the exact amount, but it's sped up pretty much. Probably about, let me see, I think it's, 8 times the speed. Just to kind of shrink this down. The original video is over 2 hours. So what I want to talk about is the process or the thought process of how I'm feeling in pretty much rebooting my comic. The first issue was a digital download. It was years ago. It was over 5 years ago, the release of the first one, and I've tried to. This is the second time that I've attempted to reboot my comic. Now, the first time I tried to reboot it, it for whatever reason, it was a while ago, but I just wasn't happy with where it was going. I was pretty much attempting to reboot the comic as far as a pretty much almost a shot for shot remake of the comic with excuse me guys, better art, possibly better page layouts, and a little bit better character design. I was gonna change some of the character designs for some of the characters, but it really wasn't what I was really trying to do, and I couldn't understand why at first. And so I ended up taking like a hiatus from rebooting the comic, and there were a few reasons why. And I did explain in a blog as to why I felt like for the first and second issue of Lynk, I had released 2 issues and was working on the third issue. But I explained in a blog that I wrote about the first comic, the first and second comic, some of the issues that I felt like I had, and also why I felt that, in a sense, I kind of rushed in creating my comic. And then not necessarily that I rushed as far as rushed through the art, because I felt like at the time, excuse me, guys, I felt like at the time I did put my best foot forward, but at the same time I rushed. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I also at the time as well had this misconception, and I think it was that time frame on the internet, especially specifically with artists, where like I wasn't using reference a lot. Like I wasn't using references to make things easier for myself. I really wasn't planning a lot of things. I wasn't taking the additional time I needed to take in order to make sure that I was creating what I needed to create to the highest standard I could have. Because even though I felt like I did the best part that I could do with what I was doing, I knew it could have been better. And like one thing, like I said, I wasn't using models. I wasn't like looking up, pulling up references to kind of get an idea of how things should look or how things do look, and altering that to make it fit into my world. There's just a lot of things I just did not do. And so in this comic, this reboot of Lynk, you guys have seen in this video and previous videos, and you guys will continue to see in future videos, of me taking the necessary time to look up reference. That's my phone, sorry guys. Look up reference, use 3D models, using pose books, pose models, anything that I need to use in order to create not only the poses for the figures that I need, uh, but looking at backgrounds and things like that to really understand and have a better understanding of how things look. An example of this was I was working on the cover, which I still haven't finished yet, um, but working on the cover because I really wanted to understand armor and not just take bits and pieces of designs that I found online and alter it slightly and just mash it together. I really wanted to understand how armor fits together, how it works, and things like that. And so I took, I think it was like 3 hours one day, and I didn't think it was going to take that long, but I watched a video on how medieval armor works and how the pieces fit together and things like that. And I ended up going down a rabbit hole of how armor works, how it fits together, uh, why pieces were crafted a certain way, why certain materials were used over others. Um, and the material one, it wasn't really necessary because this is a fantasy based comic, but it was interesting to have that information to kind of understand that thought process of why maybe leather armor was not as common as metal, and you've got chainmail and stuff like that, and how that stuff fit together to protect the person that was wearing it. And I don't have to apply all that information and all that stuff to my characters, but it's nice to know and be able to decide what I want to put in, what I want to take out, and put that into my comic. And because it's fantasy based, I can do how I see fit. I don't need to have uh, the whole entire character covered in armor if that's not what I want, right? But it's cool to know that information. And so, taking notes, using reference, all that stuff has now played a part in me putting together these pages and these covers and stuff like that and planning out this stuff. And I feel more confident in my work that I'm producing. I mean, I've even been studying how folds work, clothing folds and stuff like that work, to try to help make sure that even the folds that I create within drawing these characters and stuff seem somewhat believable. Um, because this is what I want to do with the art and the story, and making sure that when someone is reading this, that they feel like they are in a sense immersed into this world, that this world is somewhat believable, even though it's fantasy based, um, and that things are, working together and things like that. So, really taking the time to understand things, even like the architecture uh, that will be seen later on in like more detail down the road in these comics. Studying the two different cultures that I'm going to be kind of meshing together, understanding their designs, their architecture, um, certain things that are probably like indicators of that culture, and how I can mesh those things together, on top of taking into consideration the environment that this story takes place in, because you have to think like, is it the desert? Is it like the plains? Is it like the Arctic where it's going to be cold, or is it like the forest, or woodlands, things like that? All that stuff I want to make sure that I'm conveying. Um, that all seems to kind of somewhat match or make sense within this world that I'm creating. So, excuse me. So that's why I've really taken the time, and if you guys have seen in previous videos, like, I really take the time to really pull up reference and pull up reference books, even when it comes to anatomy and clothing and poses and pulling up references for like armor or environments, because I really want to incorporate all of that in there and make sure that it's somewhat believable in this fantasy world. But that's all I've got for right now. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video. If you guys do want to see the longer video, which I think is like over 2 hours, I will have in the description linked to a extras page for Lynk, so kind of like the behind the scenes and other stuff in there, that I'll be putting more, probably some more behind the scenes, like maybe pictures of me working on something, or if I don't want to, I don't know, maybe sketches and stuff, or in character designs. I don't know yet. But I'm going to probably put some more behind the scenes stuff that I won't show on YouTube on that particular page. But it'll be a page dedicated to like the extras and behind the scenes of Lynk, and then I'll also have links to the actual fuller videos of me drawing going forward. So I hope this was enjoyable. I hope you guys like this new layout format. Let me know in the comments if you like the sped up version, or if you would prefer just me going back to the longer videos and having it that way. But I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. Have a good day.